children, I am Pooja Gurung, an assistant geography teacher from St. Teresas Girls Higher Secondary School. So today we are going to start with chapter 1, that is geomorphic processes, the exogenous process and the resultant landform. So first, before directly going into the geomorphic process, the earth in which we are living, it has many unevenness. That means in some places we have mountains, some places we have plain, and in some places we have plateaus. So these are all unevenness that are present on the surface of the earth. So this unevenness is because of the geomorphic processes. These landforms like mountains, plateaus, they are formed because of these geomorphic processes. They are the result of geomorphic process. So the word geomorphic, it is made up of two terms, geo and morphic, where geo means earth and the morphic means the form or the structure. So geomorphic means the earth's form, landform or the structure. So various landforms are present on the surface of the earth. Earth is not a flat or a leveled land, so it has many irregularities, or the surface of the earth is uneven. It has many features on the surface of the earth. So this is all the result of the geomorphic process. So all these landforms which are present on the surface of the earth, these are because of the two forces. First one is the endogenic forces. So here endogenic forces means, endo means internal or inside. So this force is active in the interior of the earth. So this endogenic forces, it is responsible for the formation of mountains, plateaus, cliffs, etc. And exogenous forces, these are the forces which act outside the surface of the earth. So the agents of exogenous forces are the running water, wind, glacier, etc. So they work together. Endogenous and the exogenous forces, they work together to make the surface of the earth plain or a flat or a leveled land. So we will concentrate now in the exogenous forces. So this exogenous force, they work very slowly. So they work very slowly, and they worn down the highland and deposit that worn down material in the lowland. That means they erode the materials from the highland or the upland, and they will deposit those eroded materials in the lowland and try to make the earth a leveled land. It will try to produce a graded profile of the earth's surface. So it it works. Exogenous forces, it works with the help of erosion and weathering. So erosion and weathering is the main process which is involved in this exogenous forces. So I told you geomorphic process, because of the geomorphic process there is unevenness on the surface of the earth. So now the process of gradation, the main aim of gradation is to remove the unevenness from the surface of the earth. That means the process of gradation aims to remove all the unevenness from the surface of the earth and make the earth a flat and a leveled land. So this process of gradation, it shows its effect by degradation and aggradation. So degradation and aggradation, these are the two actions which are related with gradation and which helps to produce the flat or a leveled surface, earth surface. So here the first one is degradation. So here the word degradation means, let's say in a simple word, it means to subtract. So degradation means to lower the height of the surface of the earth. So that is the definition for degradation. So degradation is the process of lowering down the height of the earth's surface. That means subtraction in the height of the earth's surface. So for example, Aravalli range. Aravalli range, it was a very tall mountain when it was formed, but because of degradation, what happened is the Aravalli range, it lost its height. The Aravalli range, the rock, they started to break, and the height of the Aravalli range, it started to decrease. So in that way, degradation means the lowering down of the height of the earth's surface. So degradation, it works. How the Aravalli range lost its height? So the degradation, it works with the help of three processes. So these three processes which are involved in degradation are erosion. Second one is weathering. And the third one is transportation. So the lowering down of the height of the earth's surface, this is done by these three processes: erosion, weathering and transportation. So because of the weathering, the rocks are broken down, and the weathered materials, they are eroded and they are transported to some other place. So in this way, Aravalli range lost its height. So that means now the process of degradation is trying to make the earth, trying to level the surface of the earth, trying to make the surface of the earth flat and a leveled land. So that is degradation, which means to lower the height of the earth's surface. Next one is aggradation. So here in the aggradation, what happens is there, aggradation means to add, or it just means to build up. So the aggradation is the process in which a landform is built up, it is a process of building up of landform, where in the first case, degradation, the rock has been weathered, the Aravalli range has been weathered, for example. So these weathered material, they are transported to some other place. Okay, so I told you there are uplands. Earth is full of unevenness. In some places there are highlands, and in some places there are depressions or the lowlands. So the height of these highlands are decreasing. So this particular things which is being eroded away or the weathered away, they are being carried on by the running water, wind, glacier, and these materials are being deposited in this depression, and this depression is being filled by the weathered material. So the process, this process of gradation is trying to make the surface of the earth a flat and a leveled land. Now the next topic we are going to do is the weathering. So in a simple language, how we can define weathering is, it is the breaking up of rock. A big rock is there, or a stone is there, and when this rock breaks into pieces, that is known as weathering. So weathering is the breaking up of rocks, or this is the disintegration or the decomposition of rock in situ. Situ means in the place where they belong, in the place where they have originated by the agents like temperature, the heat from the sun, the rain, glacier, wind, etc. So weathering, it is of many types. So mechanical weathering, chemical weathering, and biological weathering. So first we'll deal with the mechanical weathering. So mechanical weathering it is a process of weathering, or it is the breaking up of the rocks where no chemical change takes place in the mineral, or without changing the mineral composition. So here in the mechanical weathering, a rock is simply broken into pieces. The chemical reaction does not take place. The composition of the rock do not change. So it is just a rock is there and the rock is broken into pieces. That is all about the mechanical weathering or the physical weathering. It is also known as physical weathering. So mechanical weathering, it has three processes. First one is block disintegration, second one is exfoliation, and the third one is granular disintegration. So first one, block disintegration. So block disintegration, this takes place especially in the dry areas, especially in the desert areas where the range of temperature is very high. That means the temperature is very high during daytime and it's very low during night. So in those places, block disintegration is very common, especially in the desert area. So in the block disintegration, because of the intense heat during the daytime and the very low temperature during night time, the rock, they expand and they contract regularly. During daytime they expand and during night time they contract. This regular expansion and contraction will lead to develop cracks or the joints. Suppose this is a rock, and because of continuous expansion and contraction, a crack will develop on the rock. So through this crack or along this crack or the joint, the rocks will be broken into blocks. So that is known as block disintegration. The name itself is giving you the definition, block. They are breaking into blocks. So that is all about the block disintegration. So this is especially in the dry areas, especially in the desert areas. Next one is exfoliation. So exfoliation is also known as onion weathering. Onion weathering. So here in the exfoliation or the onion weathering, what happens is a rock is there, okay, a rock is there. So the layer of the rock, this rock, they will disintegrate or they will break layer after layer, like the onion. We have seen onion. So onion has many layers. So so like the onion, so the first layer of the rock will be peeled off. It will detach from the main rock, and the second layer again after some time it will detach. So in that way the process of exfoliation is also known as onion weathering. So here in this exfoliation process, the rock, they disintegrate, they break layer after layer. So that is the process of exfoliation or the onion weathering. So that also takes place when the range of temperature is very high. That means very high. The temperature is very high during daytime and it's very low during night. The unequal expansion and contraction that will lead to the peeling up of the layers of the rock, and at last a round shape, a dome-shaped rock will be left there. So that is known as exfoliation dome. Next one is the granular disintegration. So in this granular disintegration, the name itself is saying granular. That means the rock, they are broken into very fine grains of sand or the rock particles. So here in the granular disintegration, the rock are made up of minerals. There are some rock, they are made up of only one mineral, and some rock, they are made up of many minerals. So this granular disintegration happens in the rock which contains many minerals or which are made up of many minerals. So the different minerals, they have different capacity to absorb the heat from the sun. So this difference in the because of this one, there is a different difference in the expansion and contraction of the minerals in the rock, so which will ultimately lead to break the rock into small grains or in a granule. So that is known as granular disintegration. So here last I told you aggradation and degradation, these are very, very important. The difference between aggradation and degradation, that is one of the most important question. So the second type of weathering is the chemical weathering. So chemical weathering is the disintegration and the decomposition of the rock by chemical means. And here the mineral composition, here the composition of the rock is altered or changed, coming in contact with the gases which are present in the atmosphere, or coming in contact with the water, rainwater. So chemical weathering, they change the mineral composition. The mineral composition of the rock is completely changed in the chemical weathering, so the decaying or the breaking up of the rocks takes place. So chemical weathering, the processes which are involved in chemical weathering are carbonation, oxidation, hydration and solution. So first we'll go with carbonation. So in this process of carbonation, the rainwater they mixed with carbon dioxide that is present in the air, and when they mix they form weak carbonic acid. Carbonic acid is formed, and this carbonic acid acts on the landform which have limestone and chalk. They are active on the limestone region, and they dissolve this carbonic acid. They will dissolve the limestone, and they will form various types of features there in the limestone region. So this is the process of carbonation. So the limestone is dissolved, and hence the rock is broken into pieces. So in the next one is oxidation. So the name itself is saying here oxidation. Oxidation here includes the gas oxygen. So oxygen, when they mixed up with the minerals present in the rock, so second process is oxidation. So in this process of oxidation, the oxygen which is present in the atmosphere, it combines with the mineral which is present in it combines with the minerals which is present in the rock. So especially the mineral with this process of oxidation, the rock which contains iron is affected the most. So when the iron containing rock, they come in contact with the oxygen and the water, they get rusted. So the rust, it makes the rock weaker, which will ultimately lead the rock to break into pieces. So this is the process of oxidation. Now next one is hydration. So here the word hydra means water. So in this, when the water they mix or they combine with the minerals which is present in the rock, they make the rock weak. So as a result, the rock, they will crumble into pieces, or they will break into pieces. So next, the last one is the solution. So in this process of solution, the rocks which contains the minerals which will easily dissolve, those will get affected. So when the water they dissolve the minerals like the rock salt, like the limestone, the minerals will be taken away by this water, and only the other things will remain, so which will make the rock to break into pieces. So these four are the processes which are involved in the chemical weathering, and which will break the rock into pieces. So the next one is the biological weathering. So it also comes under the mechanical weathering or the physical weathering. So here the biological weathering means the rocks, they are broken by the biological means. Bio means it is the living thing. So living things means under living things comes the plants, animals and human beings. So to some extent the plants, animals and human beings are also responsible for the breaking up of rocks. So biological weathering is also a part of mechanical or the physical weathering. So how the plant they break the rock, how the plant helps in the weathering of rocks. So the plants, the root of the plant, they will enter under the ground, or they will move under the ground in search of food and water. So while they are moving downward, they enter the cracks of the rock, so which will break the rock into pieces. So in this way plants help in the breaking of rock, and the animals, and especially the burrowing animals like the rabbits, like the rats, rodents, these are also responsible for breaking the rocks into pieces. And the human beings, human activities like the mining, like the farming, like the construction work, they also to some extent help in the breaking up of the rock. So this is all things, or these are all the agents which helps to break the rock, and all these things they come under the biological weathering. So now I'm going to do the most important topic, that is the landforms which is formed in the karst region or in the limestone region. So here first, doing the karst landforms in the karst region, we have to know what is carbonation. That I have already told. Carbonation is the process, or in carbonation the carbon dioxide which is present in the air, it mixes with the rainwater and it produces acid that is called carbonic acid. And when that carbonic acid it goes in the limestone region, then that acid, it will dissolve the limestone and it will form a beautiful landscape or many type of features in the limestone region, which is known as a karst topography, or it is also known as landform in karst region. So carbonation is the most important process which is responsible for the formation of different types of feature in the karst region. So here most of the landform in the karst region, they are formed by the solution. That means the solution by the solvent action of the rainwater or the carbonic acid, they will dissolve the limestone and they will form different types of features on the karst region. So first we'll go with the erosional features. First one is the lapis. So in the limestone region, in the limestone region, a very corrugated and a very rough ridges are found. A very sharp and a rough ridges are found like this. So they are so that is known as the lapis. So lapis, these are the corrugated and a rough surface which is present in the limestone region, and these lapis, they have ridges, and they have these are the ridges, the pointed parts are the ridges, and these are called the clefts. So this is one of the feature that we see in the karst region or the limestone region. And there are numerous holes, numerous solution holes. Many holes are there on the karst region. So that is the lapis that comes under the erosional features. Now next one is the grikes or the clins. So grikes, what are these is due to the solution action of limestone. So I told you most of the feature in the limestone, it is formed by the solvent action of rainwater, by the process of solution, by the dissolving of the calcium carbonate. So when calcium carbonate, limestone, it contains calcium carbonate, and calcium carbonate, when it comes in contact with the carbonic acid, it turns into calcium bicarbonate. So that calcium bicarbonate can easily dissolve in water, and that will lead to the formation of different types of landforms. So second one is the grikes and the clins. So what is grite? So, so this is also formed by the solution, the solvent action of the water and in the limestone region. So here in this grite, a long furrow, a deep, long depression, a deep and a long depression is formed, that is known as grite, so which is separated by a rectangular block, so that this rectangular block of limestone is known as glints. So this type of grites and glints, they are seen, or they are found in Madhya Pradesh in India. So another feature, another erosional feature in the which is found in the karst region or the limestone region is the sinkhole. So the name itself is saying holes. That means in the limestone region there are many holes. On the surface of the limestone region there are many holes, saucer-shaped holes or a funnel-shaped holes are there. So when the rain waters, they sink in these holes, so that is known as the sinkholes, or it is also known as swallow holes. So these are the holes which are present on the surface of the limestone region when the rain, and this is also formed by the solvent action of the rainwater in combination with carbon dioxide. So sinkhole is also known as swallow holes. It seems that it is swallowing the water, the rainwater which is flowing through this limestone region. Now next one is the dolines. So dolines, these are also the holes which are present in the limestone region, and they are the swallow holes, but they are much larger in comparison to the sinkhole. So all these are holes. Sinkhole is smaller in size, but dolines, it is bigger in size compared to the sinkhole. So the only difference is sinkhole is a smaller hole in the limestone region, and dolines, their size is larger compared to the sinkholes. Now the next one is the uvalas. So uvalas, these are also the holes or the depressions. These are also the holes or the depressions formed by the solvent action, formed by the process of solution and carbonation. So uvalas, these are formed by joining of many dolines. That means dolines, these are the bigger holes, and when many dolines they join together, they form bigger holes, they are known as uvalas. So uvalas is also a hole in the limestone region, but they are much larger in size compared to dolines. So next one is the polges. So polges, these are, so when many uvalas, big holes, they join together, they form polges. So these are very big holes which are present in the limestone region. So all are holes, but the only difference is their size. These are the smaller ones. So when many sinkholes they join together and make a bigger hole, they are known as dolines. And when many dolines they join together and another big hole is formed, that is known as uvalas. And when many uvalas they join together and they form a very big hole in the limestone region, then that is known as polges. So at the base or the floor of the uvalas or the polges, there are some hillocks or residual rocks are there, hard rocks or the resistant rocks are there. So this hillocks or the resistant rocks, these are known as humps. So these are some of the erosional features that we see in the karst region. Now next one is the ponors. So these ponors, these are the underground channels. Suppose this is a limestone region, a hole is formed there and there is a channel deep inside like this. So these channels, these are known as ponors. Ponors, these are the underground channels through which the streams they flow under the ground. Next one is the dry valley. So here in the dry valley, what happens is the streams and the rivers on the land surface. So suppose a river is flowing on the surface here. A river is flowing on the surface, but finally the stream here, there is a presence of a hole is there. So the stream, it will sink in this hole, it will enter the hole, and they will flow here under the ground as an underground river. So this is known as a dry valley. So it seems that the valley is dried up because all the water is entering underground through this hole. So that is called a dry valley. Now the last one is the cast window. So here the window says we can see through it. Through window we can see through it. So cast windows are those windows. Here what happens in the cast windows is this is also formed by the solvent action of the limestone, and here it creates underground channel like the ponors. In the karst topography, the underground channels are created like ponors here, and the surface water disappears. So here, if the river is flowing here on the surface, and when the underground channel has developed, the surface water, it will enter here, it will sink here through this hole, and as a result this underground water and this surface water, they will flow here under the ground as the subsurface river, and sometimes the roof of this cave. So the roof of this cave may collapse, and one can see through this river, or this river can be visible from here. So that is known as a karst window. So now we'll do the depositional features which are formed in the karst region or the karst topography. So first one is the terra rosa. So this terra rosa is not affected. Some of the things are not affected by the solvent action. They do not get dissolved because of the solvent action of the rainwater. So they remain there as a residue in the limestone region, and they are red in color because of the presence of iron oxide. So that is known as terra rosa, which is a depositional feature. Now the next one is the dripstone. So because here in the limestone region, because of the solvent action of the rain, the cracks or the joints, they develop in the limestone region. So through these cracks and the joints, the drops of water, they start to drip from these joints or the crack. So that is known as a dripstone. So it is nothing but it is a stone from where the drops of water, they continuously drip. Now the next one. Now the last one is the stalactite and stalagmite. So stalactite and stalagmite. So in the stalactite and stalagmite, what happens is there, so in the limestone region, big caves are found under the ground. Big caves are there they are present under the ground, that is formed by the underground water, by the solvent action of the rainwater, and by the process of carbonation. So in this one, through the cracks and the joints, the water enters. So water starts to drip from the roof of the cave. They start to so the last depositional feature of the karst region or the karst topography is the stalactite and the stalagmite. So in the karst region, a huge caves are formed under the ground. So these caves, the roof of the caves has many joints and the cracks. So through these joints and the cracks, the water, it enters, it percolates, and it starts to drip drop by drop. So as the water starts to drop from these joints, partially the water is evaporated and a small amount of calcium carbonate remains there. So the calcium carbonate remains there, and in course of time it grows bigger in size, forming a pillar which is hanging from the roof of the cave. So in this way, many stalactites, they hang from the roof of the cave. So this pillars or the which hang from the roof of the cave, that is known as stalactites. Now next one is the stalagmite. So same like the drop of the water which has reached the floor of the cave, it has also some amount of calcium carbonate, it gets deposited and it grows in size in course of time. So this calcium carbonate which grows from the floor of the cave towards the roof, so this is known as stalagmite. So this is stalactite and stalagmite. Only the difference is stalagmite, it hangs from the roof, and stalagmite, it comes from the floor of the cave.